Yeah,
It's
I know.
no big deal.
It's
Every
intimidating, but got you. I'll try.
Yeah, we will crush is not a problem at all. All right, I need one more thing to go live here. All right, excellent. Yeah, buddy. Let's make sure I see what the feedback is. Where's the feedback coming from? All right, there we go. All right, I think we're good now. All right. Yeah, that was Instagram. All right. Then last up. Welcome today. We're talking with Andy. He lost 38 pounds in 100 days. I mean, this guy is a Grand Slam results client. I had to bring him on here to talk about what the heck he did. And then you get to hear and understand the situations, the challenges, and the obstacles that he had to overcome to get such an amazing outcome. Andy is super easy to work with on my end. He just did the things that we talked about and he had wild success. So we're sharing that. He is the guy. If most of the US right now, it's January 20th. It's in the single digits here. It feels like -5 when I woke up. This guy puts the down feathers in your jackets to keep you warm. All right. So this guy travels all over the place, overseas, domestically, to make sure that we stay warm. But and also he's a family man. He's got 2 kids, and he absolutely loves prime rib and tomahawk steaks. Welcome, welcome, Andy, to our conversation today. Let's jump in real quick. What were you able to accomplish as far as results go?
Like you mentioned, I went from a 212 to 174, and I
That is
feel great.
That's amazing. That's so good. I'm blown away. And let's jump into a little bit of who you are. Tell the audience and the people listening and watching this, who is Andy and why did it matter that you made a change in your life?
I'm one of those people that's actually responsible for the down and feathers that's in all of you guys' outerwear jackets.
Yep.
That's what I do for a living. But I'm also a father and a husband that actually, cares about his health and thought it was time to actually do something about it.
Yes, absolutely had to do something about it. And what were the issues and things that you're starting to see show up in your body, in your shape, in your health, things like that?
Well, you always have the classic dad bod thing going on. But I actually had something more serious, something that I took it to heart. I went to the doctor. I go every year or every half a year, and then I saw that my cholesterol was very close. I'm sorry, my blood sugar was very high
Ah,
compared to where it's supposed to be. And then I started getting a little bit nervous about it. So that's when I actually made the chance to pull the trigger and actually get in touch with Brian.
yeah, definitely. I see so many people, especially a huge focus and shift that I have is men in their 40s and 50s. I'm 43. It makes a lot of sense to talk to myself in a sense. And the problems and challenges are sure we're over a lot of men are overweight, but then we're starting to see these other actual chronic health issues show up. Blood pressure's up, cholesterol's up, your A1C and blood sugar levels are going up. These are big problems that will end your life faster than you want to. Me being 43, I think, am I 40% done, 50, 60, 80% done with this life? I, I'm not ready to go. I just feel like I'm still going. And I have 4 kids, so it's really, really important. And I imagine that's a big reason why that you didn't want disease coming into your body and into your household in a sense, and it ultimately being your fault.
Yeah, and like I said, I have 2 kids, and they're already in teenage years, and they're 2 boys, so
Mhm.
they're getting to that age where they're trying to get to the same weight, and try to challenge certain things, even on little
Yes.
things like sports, basketball, and things like that. And still, as me as the father, I still don't want to let it go, but it's one of those things that father time is one of those things that always wins. So
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
just trying now. I'm just trying to keep up with them.
Yep, yep. I the same. My older two are now faster runners than I am. It's sad, and by a lot. They're not
Yeah.
stronger than me though, not yet. Oh, I got to
No, no.
keep
Well, not these guys
pushing.
either, but it's still they're close.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
soon enough, unfortunately. All right. So we got to
Yeah.
keep up with the kids and keep up with the family and all the responsibilities because you have a couple of them, right? We've got longer work days sometimes. You have to travel a
Right.
bunch. And how do some of those situations impact daily life? Like how long are you gone traveling on occasion and things like that, client meetings?
Yeah. So sometimes, I have to, when I do go out of the country, let's say I go to China or something for the week, during those times, I don't necessarily even eat too much because, like how you may know, I'm not really much of a vegetarian or or anything when it comes to vegetables, and that's a lot of the diet out there. So I just stick to kind of just the chicken and rice type of diet, and bottled water because you're not supposed to drink the water out there either, so you're not from there. So
Right.
that kind of helps with the keeping the diet intact when I go out there. When I
And
do go, in domestic, I do try to keep it light, by knowing what to eat when, what we practiced, and try to
right.
eat the good protein stuff and just the good amount of it.
Yep, yep. I do want to point something out here, everyone listening in. Now, this is an exception to the rule, but we tried really hard to work vegetables into this man's life, and we he still does to just amuse me occasionally, but he was able to do this not necessarily eating a lot of vegetables and very select ones because one of the principles that I have for every person I ever work with is it has to be a lifestyle. It has to be something that we do. This phrase of what we do in 2 weeks, we do in 2 months, we do in 2 years, so on and so forth. And Andy just doesn't enjoy them. And we tried dino time, right? Just stuffing a bunch of
Yeah,
greens in your mouth before you eat and blending them
yeah.
in smoothies. And we had a valiant effort, but you do get your fiber and nutrition through fruit, right?
Yes, yes. I do eat plenty of apples, oranges, grapes, bananas, a lot of different kind of fruits. And I do eat them every day.
Yep.
Just, after I do eat the protein or whatever and carbs that I do need to get in. And yeah, and like you mentioned right now, it's really important for that, to keep that in mind, which is, be realistic. Don't try to like put cheese on vegetables or butter on something and or salt or something and make it and stuff yourself with it or force yourself. Like that's not realistic. You're not gonna do that. I'm never gonna do that. I'm never gonna bake Brussels sprouts. I'm never gonna do that. You
Right.
know, there's no amount of cheese that you can put on all that stuff that I'm gonna want it. So yeah.
Right. And so what also let's hear he eats fruit and he was able to do, but what about sugar? And let's not, we're not doing like 1990s fad diet rules or something. We're using nutrition, science backed nutrition, and educating Andy and all my clients around what to eat, why they're eating it, how to eat it better, and how to be more prepared and planned out for the situations that have. So let's talk about some of those situations beforehand, before all these results and changes. Where were you at and what did you try on your own before we came together?
So I was consistently from around 205 to 215, going back and forth throughout because I was just not really taking care of myself. I was just eating, fast food more than maybe 3 or 4 times a week. And going on maybe just on that one time that I would eat during that day of fast food, I would eat maybe the 2,000 calories in that one meal, and then
Right.
probably dinner later on. And then the main thing was also not even hit 5 to 7,000 steps. You know, now the whole difference is just opposite. It's totally night and day. And yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's crazy.
Right. And now, had you tried anything, other programs before what we did?
So no, I didn't try anything actually. What I would do was I would just be like looking at Google, trying to see if any AI would kind of come into play here and just answer all these questions that I have. But and it's one thing to do that, but it's one thing to actually have somebody to actually kind of walk you through those answers because it's not as simple as black and white. There's a lot of gray area when it comes to this kind of thing. If you really want to get real results, at least.
Right. Totally. I see AI and GLP-1s are major changes in the last 12 to 15 months. And I see it. A lot of people come and ask me about this thing. I have a lot of people even on GLP-1s while we are working together to help and get them results. So we have to work with them. I am not necessarily a proponent of doing it. I think the way that we did it is the best way. But if someone chooses to use a GLP-1, then we need to honor that and work in that situation. But say the AI, so many people are, you could literally just have it write a meal plan and a macros, but guess what, that just goes back to any other meal plan situation or something that a lot of people have failed on, and you have to find a different approach that actually works in your everyday. So we know that the blood sugars, the A1C, diabetes are starting to show up. Just a fatigue, and you just didn't feel that great back then.
Right.
And so you said, hey, I'm going to actually work with someone. And what were some of the things that we did that actually made huge impact? This is with the meat and potatoes, people. Listen up, bust out a pen and pencil to listen into what we did with Andy, and you might be shocked at what you hear.
Yeah, so it was very easy actually, very simple. It's just, stay active. That was the main thing, stay active, minimum 10,000 steps a day, which I'm happy to report. I'm still at continuing to do as of this now, so over 100 days.
Yes.
I'm also, just keeping the portions down, eating regular meals, um, and yeah, and just staying in touch with Brian and just having, that kind of consistent help to kind of understand what's the right thing to do, and because like I said, we can read all we want of what's the right thing to do, but it's another thing to actually have somebody telling you how to do it and walking you through it. And if you do it wrong, and if you have any questions, to actually like bring it up and actually ask them and get the right answer.
Yes. And the right answer specifically for your situation. You join the Call to Rise. It's a 100-day fat loss challenge in which we have weekly calls, you have daily touch points with me. There's a community of other like minded men. There's a lot of specific information I give you dripped out throughout the time in there so that this is the next step of what is going on. And then the camaraderie, knowing you literally say, hey, I'm at 89 days of 10K steps. I'm about to take 1,000,000 steps. And it blew my mind because I never shifted that to consider what that actually meant. And 100
Yeah,
days of 10,000 steps a day is 1,000,000 steps. And the 1,000,000 step challenge is born with Andy saying that in my
yeah,
mind, racing. Oh my gosh, this is such a cool thing to do. But that was a huge momentum builder for you. What about the program made it different and easy besides just Brian helping guide you?
well, I mean, all the steps were there already. It's like if you said, like you said, you've done this before. You've been doing this for a long time. You got all of the fat, I guess you can say, out of it. You cut the fat out of it. I'm not gonna take the pun there, but
Yep.
it's all very simple. Like I said, it was really easy to follow. It's not hard. And it's for somebody like me that's doesn't have too much time. It's really easy. It's fun actually. It gives you just another thing to do, and it gives you peace of mind that you're actually taking care of yourself.
Yep. Yep. I know that you inspired and motivate a lot of guys when you're posting all your steps consistently. And well, if Andy's doing, then I should do it too. I know Danny is was really pushing because of you, and that's one of the cool things is you don't have to do this alone, and you
Right.
can find support in ways to help create these environments in which we're able to establish really good behavior changes and get them to stick. And as Andy says, we boil it down to simplicity. Guys, you're busy. I'm busy. My day is so full. I'm choosing this or I'm choosing that. That's it. And that's yours too, right? Am I going to do this thing
Yeah.
or that thing right now? And we don't want to spend all this time, grocery shopping and meal prepping and all these things. We just want the easiest outcome. And your outcome was I want to lose weight, get my blood sugars, A1C down, and I want to do it in the easiest way possible that's sustainable. And that's where I was able to meet you and laying out some really simple things. So
Yeah.
10K steps, we kept our calories under 1800 most of the time. You were able to enjoy. This was through the holiday season as well that we
Yeah.
did all this, and which is even more mind-blowing. So people, if you're listening, it can be done. You have to have some intention, a big reason why, and maybe some support, accountability to be able to do that. Now, if someone was listening in, and what was the biggest challenge that you had to overcome in the first place getting signed up?
Just getting the time to actually do it.
Yeah.
That was the big thing because I never thought that I would have the time to do it. I didn't think it would be this easy, that I would be able to have communication with somebody still every day, but at the same time, you know, get stuff done.
Right. Right. Yeah. So many people say, why now? Or it's not a good time. And I've heard that so many times. And I'll be honest, if someone has intention to take action and they don't actually take action in that moment of time and energy and effort that they're putting forth to do it, it's unlikely 80-90% of the time that they're actually going to do anything about it. And then months or even years go by, literally years. I've had people follow up with me 3 years later. Brian, I'm in a worse spot than when I first met you and talked to you. Yeah, that's because life is super busy and it's gonna run away with you. And you don't need time, you need priorities and structure and
Right.
strategizing what are the most important things to do to then do those things. So we have a minimum viable dose and an effective progress that we get, and then we tweak and adjust as we go to get the results. So if someone was listening into this and they're like, oh my gosh, he lost almost 40 pounds in 100 days, and they were in a similar situation to where you were at when you were beginning, A1C's going up, maybe cholesterol could have been too, your waistline was not in a good spot, your down jacket was going toward an XL instead of a
I was at an
medium.
XL. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so, what would you tell that person if they're watching in thinking, what should they do now? What's advice that you would tell them?
Actually, and tell yourself it's time. And actually go through with it and just realize that it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. And once you put yourself in that mindset that you actually want to get it done, it's gonna be easy.
Yeah.
I wish I would have done it. I wish I would have done it earlier. Put it that way.
Right, right. Brian, where were you at when I was 35 or something, right? And
Yeah, I probably would have lost even more weight.
yeah, do you know what I would have said? Yeah, I was right here, man. I've been doing the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. I just didn't think I had the time to do it. I didn't think it was going to be this easy to work with somebody that's across the country. I'm in LA here and here in Ohio. So and even in the first time we spoke, I thought, oh yeah, I'm not going to be able to make the weekly meets or something, which I thought we were going to like meet at a park or something and work out or something. And yeah, but I mean, this worked out even better. It worked out way better.
Right, right. I met you where you're at, literally in everyday life, which is so different from a personal train. I did personal training. I have been a gym owner. I have worked out. I get significantly better results for people talking to them than I do staring at them as they do push-ups.
It's
The
mental. That's why.
it's it's literally not even night and day difference. It's like the gap is crazy huge on the
Yeah.
amount of impact I've had in the last 10 years, not being in person with someone, but having actual real conversations about who they are, what they are, what's
Hmm.
going on. How do we have actual real solutions for the real situations that they experience in their everyday life? And then as soon as we start equipping them with that skill sets, they're like, oh, I can actually do this, or building their
Right.
confidence, or giving them energy, or figuring out what those motivational things are, or the things that they actually like. With you going back to the virtual thing, yes, we tried a couple more than a couple times, but we settled into the appropriate pace, and you were still losing weight, which is the ultimate
Yeah.
goal of what we did in the 100 days. But now you're in weight maintenance, which is way easier. Wouldn't you agree? It's a lot easier to
And
live
it's fun.
somewhere where you're at. So,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
appreciate you so much for joining my program, having wild success, coming on here and sharing your story with other people, other guys that are in a situation where their health is not good, their blood panels, their cholesterol, hypertension, diabetes, they're a walking heart attack. We don't need that. You don't need that for you. You don't need that for your family. You don't need that for your friends. And it's devastating the impact that has in someone's life. So take action, do something with yourself, whether it's with me or someone else or a buddy or whatever, but you have to make sure that you find the right help to help you reach what your long-term goals are. And if the Call to Rise 100-day fat loss challenge makes sense to you, you can visit thecalltorise.com and check that out. You will literally be working with me one-on-one and in our group setting to be with like-minded men that are working literally, right? I told you in the beginning, you're going to come in with a bunch of other Andys, right? A bunch of guys dealing with the
Yeah.
same problems, right? Yep.
It's different
Because
stages. Everybody's at different stages, but
yeah,
everybody's
it's
hitting the
similar
same problems.
results, right? Everyone needs to lose weight. They have a time strap, there's responsibilities, they've got kids, they've got other objectives in their life. It's all the same though. It's not even different levels. It's all the same challenges. So again, one more time, I appreciate you for just knocking it out of the park. And from here on out, we get to start building muscle. So that's the next
Yep.
phase.
There we
Andy and
go.
I, as we go into the next portion of our work together to then build a lasting body that this guy is healthier age 50 than he is at how many years younger you know?
I'm 41.
41. Yep. So we want him to be the same literally as he is now when he's 50. And the same thing with me, 43. I want to look and feel the way I do now, but I'm 50. All right. Over and out. I appreciate you. Thanks so much for joining us. And I'm going to wrap up the podcast episode here too. So thank you for listening to Driven for Health, and off we go. All right.